Where there is despair, hope.
Where there is darkness,
light. And where there is sadness, joy. O Divine Master,
grant that we stand
to be loved as to love, for it is in giving that eternal life. Amen.
Folks, we're back and better than ever.
Your show have always appeared to be a show that is focused on going to the cause or looking to the cause.
We hardly ever talk about the white-collar crime, though. We always talk about the ones that involve more as physical violence against individuals.
The citizens will only measure transmission when water starts to flow through their taps.
Because the vision doesn't talk about local election.
Contract mafia that's responsible for looting the country and they own and operate these politicians.
So if you are running a country and you can't say nothing as a prime minister, please take up your bag and go.
It is not comparative to the murder figures, but it is in fact very high.
I believe he's protecting certain individuals.
You are watching Strictly Legal on WESN Content Capital. Just give an overview of what exactly is that split arrangement.
It is, now you don't need to register nothing, we can do that another time. But then it becomes a hit, and then everybody starts to want to claim.
The laws that predate many of the independent countries' constitutions are going to be those colonial laws.
We know there are an infinite amount of circumstances that would lead to a murder.
I have a great idea and I have a great concept, but until it's actually expressed, it does not become intellectual property.
Accomplishments or targets of a forensic accountant is to quantify what may have been lost.
We believe we defend criminals and we manipulated the law and we exploiting the system.
A responsible journalist will reach out to the person who they have the information on for a comment.
This is 10 Questions. I'm Andy Johnson. The distance from where we should be in the world in going forward on our commitments with climate change.
The effects of climate change that cannot be accounted for. It's called loss and damage. And we're seeing loss and damage happening so much more in this decade and the previous decade.
The principal term there was this question of the correspondent banking issues.
That is why we're trying to build capacity with this country here, Trinidad and Tobago, and other countries in the region. Man
is not showing any signs of stopping or even slowing down. More than half of the forest in Trinidad is already gone.
All the plants and all the animals and all of the nice clean water and fresh air and everything had to be on this planet for humanity to have a chance.
We have small change when it comes to countries that can take decisions, and when they speak, the world listens.
The General Assembly is a very democratic forum. And Trinidad and Tobago has the same vote as Canada, in spite of the obvious difference in size.
Join me, Dr. Nalini Kokram, on What's Up Doc, where we discuss all your burning questions concerning health.
Trinidad and Tobago is among one of the highest risk group of patients that develop this form of genetic breast cancer.
What I'd like to take home from a short interview like this, screening. You must screen.
Because it's silent.
It's silent.
Yeah.
And because it's silent, you don't know it's there.
What's Up Doc, every Tuesday and Thursday on WESN, Content Capital.
Money is something we all deal with, but how many of us truly understand it? What if you could make better decisions with your money? Decisions that secure your future, protect your family, and bring you peace of mind. I'm Darren Jacobs, and I'm here to help you make sense of your dollars. Welcome to Dollars and Cents, the show that breaks down the financial world in ways that matter to you. No jargon, no confusion, just real conversations about money, your money. So join me every Wednesday at 10 a.m. on WESN for Dollars and Cents.
This is Face of Sports, WESN Content Capital. How you felt about the kiss on the lip?
That's the business. I'm nothing to do with that.
I find that was distasteful.
The national senior team, whether you like it or not, that is the model for all other teams to follow.
I'm assuming that the regional requirement may be a much stricter requirement.
This is not about Pro League and Super League. This is a league run by the Normalization Committee that I'm responsible for.
Nobody expected FIFA to fund this arrangement.
If we don't get a professional attitude towards this, we are doomed for failure.
You break the balance, trip the leg, control the body.
They ain't gonna stand put forever.
Why you want the Chiefs to lose so? Why you want the Chiefs to lose so?
They already have two. Lamar don't
Why?
have.
You're jealous because you know the Chiefs getting closer to the Patriots. Let's go to the last part.
No,
of the
not no.
Let's go to the last part.
Pastor J, I want to get a tattoo.
You really
respond to me. Respond to me how you would respond to me.
The first question I'd ask is why?
Controversial taboo topics.
We get so consumed by church, we forget that we have to live the life of being a Christian outside of the Sunday.
Like you say,
services.
we think going to a service makes us a Christian.
Exactly.
Yeah. Right. So here we are about to hear the second time Pastor J wanted to take a tattoo.
Would have been late last year and early this year.
Oh gosh.
Hope Unfiltered podcast with Pastor J and Ren.
Here's your chance to win a bicycle, a ride-on, or a hoverboard. Shop at thebesttoys.com and spend $300 or more to win big.
We've got Barbie,
Hot Wheels, Gel Blasters, Ride-Ons,
Leapfrog,
Nerf, bicycles and tricycles.
Greco, and Wonder Baby.
Visit us in store at Forces Flagship, McLean, Movitown for the Spain, Eastgate Mall, and M6 Plaza Endeavour. Merry Christmas, everyone!
Henry, what's happened to you? What's happened to us and our marriage?
This cathedral must rise. It'll stand like a great beacon. I want its light to shine.
Never mind, Henry, never mind.
God, please help me.
Good evening.
Who are you?
I'm an angel. I was instructed to come here in answer to your prayer.
There's no time to lose.
Because the cathedral must be built, or because Julia must be happy?
This has been the most wonderful evening I've had in years.
This has been the most wonderful evening I've had in centuries.
I don't believe you're an angel. I think you're a demon right out of...
Oh, Henry.
Why don't you fight for her? Fight for an angel?
Julia is a creature of earth. She's a woman, Henry. And you are a man.
clásico yo el de la desgracia, qué golpe no llevaría. Qué golpe no llevaría una mujer me llamaba, pero yo no le
WESN.
Hello there, and welcome to AM Prime on WESN Content Capital. Keith and Shaw, thank you very much for joining us this morning. Let's get straight into the conversation. Well, it seems that the discussions being held between the opposition leader, Kamala Pissopi-Sesser, of the United National Congress and other political entities, as well as trade unions in Trinidad and Tobago, that to form a coalition of interests. Now, whatever those interests are, very little has been said of it thus far. However, the opposition leader has indicated that she believes this coalition can be better than the People's Partnership of 2010, simply because they have more time to discuss all that is at hand and all that lays before them. Interestingly, when the United National Congress issued a release last week indicating of this meeting, there were a few parties that were missing, most notably Michaela Paney's Patriotic Front, but also Gary Griffith's National Transformation Alliance. Thing is, what is going on there? Because up to a couple months ago, Gary Griffith indicated that there was room for reconciliation. Well, has his olive branch been officially cut clean? Let's find out more as we welcome him to the morning. Welcome Mr. Griffiths to the program this morning. Good morning, sir, and welcome to M Prime.
Hi, good morning. Good morning to you and your many viewers.
Good morning, sir. Thanks very much for joining us on the program. We hope all is well. Well, the NTA is quite busy when it comes to election progress. You have indicated in September that the NTA will be contesting 10 seats in the election. And just as recently as 2 weeks ago, you named 2 more candidates to contest. I believe it is Chaguanas and San Fernando. But coalition conversations, political allies is one of the major talking points leading up to this election. I'm aware that the NT was supposed to have conversations with Hope, and I believe also the Congress of the People, if I'm not mistaken. Those 2 parties are now having conversations with the United National Congress. So what position does this leave the NTA in contesting a next election?
Sure. It is pretty straightforward. Every political party has their own right to go in whichever trajectory they wish. So if you want to go in a certain direction, and that is your decision, well, so be it. Our political parties can meet with whoever they feel. Political parties can have their own view to say, well, I would like to meet with this other party. That is fine. We do know that the Congress of the People, they had put out a press release, I think, yesterday, where they stated that that was all it was. It was just a meeting that they had with the UNC. So this perception that we're getting about this massive coalition between all the parties based on a meeting, that is totally untrue. I think it is rather unfortunate. What we have been having constantly over the last several months have been meetings with Hope, Congress of the People, the NTA, because we continue to try to build something of a foundational structure to prevent a repeat of what took place in 2010 to 2015. But you know what is very interesting is that many persons in the media, how they based on their support for political parties, how they write articles is very interesting, because Anna Ramdas from the Express, who never says anything negative about the UNC ever, in the same way that Rhea Tate will never say anything negative about the PNM, she said Kamala blanks Gary. How could I be blanked if it is that, it's like I was supposed to be there. If that is the case, why did she put a headline that Kamala is blanked by the NTA, Hope and COP, because we had meetings constantly every Saturday. So it's not that the NTA we were blanked. If it is that there was any invitation, the first thing I would have done is find out what the invitation was about. I wouldn't have Barry Padarat contact me to tell me that the political leader wants to meet with me. I'll put Barry Padarat in his place and say if the political leader of the UNC wants to meet with me, she has my number, which is what he did with other political leaders. And I told them that. I said there must be some degree of respect. And that, I think, has always been the problem. What I'm hearing from so many people in the UNC, what you all are trying to split the votes, your PNM, because once you don't help the UNC, you become a PNM automatically in this country. It's never the case of it is my right to be in the political party that I support or I choose, which again, they have short memory in that Kamala Persad-Bissessar was a member of the NAR in 1991 and went up against the same UNC. So I don't know if Kamala was a PNM at that time. So we will continue to do what is required. I think that the main concern that you're hearing now, Kamala Persad-Bissessar stated that it is because of my statements over Jillian John, and that is all right. If that is her decision, that is going to insist that there's no dialogue, then the UNC would go on their own and they would lose. The UNC has lost every single election in the last 36 years. Anytime there's a three-horse race, 36 years. So you will think that they would have known by now, and this is not in any way to cast any negativity on the UNC. It's a very powerful party. It's a brilliant party that has done so much for this country. Unfortunately, because of how our constitution is laid out through first past the post, they may have more supporters than the PNM, but because more of their supporters are in Central and South, they are not going to ever win the marginal seats anymore without the support of a third party. And that has been shown, it has been seen in 1981, 1991, when Kamala Persad-Bissessar was there, and in 2007.
Interesting in that regard, but actually, let's, you raised what the opposition leader said. Let's focus on that just for a moment, because he's quoted as saying in the papers by that same Anna Ramdas article that, and I quote, "I think we have common ground with them. Like us, they want to see the backs of this bunch of misfits and incompetent people, but we have differences as well." And this is in reference to why the NTA was not present or invited to any of these meetings. So let me start by asking exactly, what do you think the United National Congress and the NTA have in common, other than being an opposition party to the People's National Movement?
But and therein lies the problem. We can't just team up to bully the PNM to defeat the PNM. That's easy. We have tried that. We tried that in 1986, it worked, and then it collapsed. We did that in 1995 with the 17-17-2, it worked to remove the PNM, and then it collapsed. We did it in 2010 with the COP joining with the UNC. This concept of let's just join together, hold hands, sing Kumbaya, and beat the PNM, it does not work. The country is fed up of that type of politics. That is what happened in that photo op, Let's all join together, and our common goal is, that whole photo op was, let's join to beat the PNM. That is what will cause the collapse. This time, Gary Griffith is here, not Winston Dukaran, not Prakash Ramada, not Carl Hudson Phillip. This is something where Gary Griffith is not A.N.R. Robinson. I am very tactical, very strategic, and for this to work, there must be a proper foundation. There must be rules of engagement. There must be mutual respect. People in the UNC have a problem with that, because whereas other political parties may, you send a call, "Hi, political leader, yeah, this is Barry Padarat. Come and see the political leader now of the UNC." Okay, and then they fly down there, they ask for police escort because they're all excited. Therein lies the problem. We understand that the UNC may have 6 times more support than the other parties, but without that 50, 60, 70,000 we have, you can't win the marginals. So we're not here to hold you to ransom, but have some degree of respect for us. You can't be calling us small parties, pop-up parties. Who are you all? You all are irrelevant. You bring nothing to the table. Who's your political leader? How many votes you have? And then call us in. That is what I always spoke about, known as political domestic violence. You say your things, and then after you want to come out, hold hands and say, let's join together. The floating voters are a very sensitive lot. They're intelligent, whether you call them the knife and fork, the middle voters, the bridge constituency. They have seen themselves being used and discarded. They are not going to buy into any cosmetic approach of, let's just do a photo up because Barry Padarat is lining us off in a strategic way, and then let everybody figure, okay, so now that you have floating voters that represent third parties, just get them now to vote for the UNC candidate in the marginals. It is not going to happen. I know how these floating voters think. So for me to get them to buy into the fact that 147,000 last count in 2007, it's probably much more, to buy into these independent voters just to say, let's just get rid of the PNM, so let's join together. No. We have to show to them that there's a cemented bond of mutual respect, recognition, that is going to cause them to say, let us give them another chance. I think the vast majority of the country want the PNM to be removed. but they are not going to vote for a UNC government. They are prepared to vote out the PNM if they know that there's a representation of that bridge constituency political parties, whether it be a combination of NTA, COP, HOPE, MSJ, whoever you call it, working with the UNC government. That is going to happen. That is going to be an avalanche. You're going to get another, it might be a 29-12, but you're going to get a 25-16, 24-17, because seats such as St. Joseph, Tunapuna, San Fernando West, Sangre Grande would be won based on an alliance. If it is that we continue to go down this road, what usually happens is that the PNM will win more seats, because they will end up winning seats such as Samoa Barataria, that's presently held by the UNC. They will win Chaguanas East. They will win Maruga, and they will win probably Point-a-Pierre. So it'll go back to 26-15, which will be identical to 2007. So I think that, again, going back to the main issue where Kamala Prasad-Bissessar said that it's based on my comments about Jolene John. That is all right, if she feels so. But my comments about Jolene John have not been nasty, it has not been bitter, it has been factual. I said that I have a concern if someone continues to insist that the UNC goes alone, because if they go alone, it will help the PNM win. If that is seen as something of disrespect, well, my humble apologies. But what is amazing is that you're upset for me saying something and then you have done exactly what I said, because you have now brought in the third parties knowing fully well that you need them to help you win. So you're upset with me because I spoke the truth. That has always been my problem, you know. Gary Griffith stays on track. He speaks the truth. He said he's not going to lie in the matter with Anand Ramlogan and David West. You get fired as a minister for insisting you speak the truth. Gary Griffith says, as Commissioner of Police, I am not going to arrest political opponents just because you appointed me as Commissioner. He gets fired as Commissioner. Speaking the truth is a very dangerous thing in politics in this country. You lose your job or you don't get political affiliations with other parties. So I said that about Jolene John. And again, it was based on my fact of what I understand the ground of politics. If it is that the UNC goes alone, which is Jolene John was insisting on, how could that be seen as being nasty, being aggressive? Whereas you refer to me as a failure, you'll question us, you'll call us pop-up parties. That is okay. But if I state that Jolene John was insisting that the UNC goes alone, how dare I? And what is even more interesting is that you have other persons that you have invited who have said the nastiest things about you and your political party on a daily basis, and it's okay. You have a union leader that I think he dragged a coffin to mimic you, and that is okay. But if I state that Jolene John is getting it wrong, that the UNC, if they go alone, they are going to cause the PNM to win, that becomes a major issue and a talking point to prevent an alliance. If that is what is going to be the issue to cause the UNC not to go with the NTA, the UNC unfortunately will spend another 5 years in opposition, because I could assure you the cosmetic plan, and I think you would have seen it from all of the Facebook pages, the comments, 98% was negative. People saw it for what it was. It was a good attempt to say, let's bring in these people to try to see if we could sideline Gary Griffith and the NT. It did not work. I think that there is definitely room for dialogue. Things, all it requires is communication, but it cannot be a common goal of let's just join together, hold hands to beat the PNM.
Well, the opposition leader for the course is saying we cannot be attacking each other if we are to work together as a team. You were once an advisor to Mrs. Kamala Prasad-Bissessar, working directly with her. Do you have an understanding of exactly what her strategy or approach is at this point? Is this something that you are familiar with, given your previous working relationship with her?
She is very strategic. I think she's fully aware of the dynamics of politics. And again, it went right back to the pre-local government election, where Jolene John continued to state that we do not need you. We are the strongest we have ever been. And I said, I don't know what planet you're on, but it's not going to work. And what was amazing is that you listen to Anna Ramdak's comment, where she said that certain persons within the UNC have been advising the political leader that there's no need for the NT because they did not give enough support and it didn't help the UNC. That is as dumb a comment that you can make. Whoever told Kamala Prasad-Bissessar that should be removed anywhere around her, because they're as ignorant as they come. The reason I spent the vast majority of my time during that local government election campaign for 3 months, every single Saturday for several hours, walking with her UNC candidates in San Fernando West. Every Monday and Tuesday for several hours with her candidates in Sangre Grande, at her request, with her asking me, please walk with my candidates to get the previous COP voters to vote for my candidates. I worked with most of her candidates from Wednesday to Friday in the corridor. and the results would have been there. What they have done is superimpose the votes from local government election onto the constituencies for the general election to show Kamala, look, we got 5,000 votes to 4,600 votes in San Fernando West, and those are UNC candidates, so we don't need Gary. Foolishly not understanding that for every 5 houses that I walked, one house said, Gary, this is a COP house. We do not we do not support the UNC, and we have never supported the UNC. But if the NTA is there with them, we will vote for the UNC candidate. That is what they saw. So had the NTA gone into San Fernando West, it would have been more like 4,600 PNM, 4,000 odd UNC, and 1,000 to 1,500 odd NTA. That is how it has always been. So the NTA supporters, most of who would have been previous COP supporters, voted for the UNC candidates, and then they looked at that and said, look how good we did it. But you did that because of the support of the NTA. And then they looked at the difference, whereas in 2019 local government election, PNM lost 30,000 votes. The UNC went down from only 10,000, but they said, well, look, there was a decrease, so it meant Gary didn't help. There's been a vast disenchantment across the country, which is why there was a decrease of 34 to 30% in the voting turnout in local government election from 2019 to 2023. But because the PNM lost 30,000, the UNC-NTA coalition lost only 10,000 because the NTA put back an injection into it. So had the NTA not been there, the UNC would have probably lost 30 or 40,000 support voters as well. So that is where they are not seeing that. And if it is that they're going continue to go down that road, it would be unfortunate. But I think the polls, I mean, I have seen the polls from a major political party that has the PNM winning easily in a 2-horse race. In fact, it will be 23-18. They will win Maruga as well. And you would have seen it. Sorry, a quick point here. As simple as you can get. In Indian Walk, there was a tie because NTA supporters, as small as they were in that area, voted for the UNC candidate. 6 months later, that same seat in a by-election without the NTA support, they lost by 600 votes. So from 0 in a tie, they lost by 600. And they then tried to foolishly state, well, it's because they were spending time in an internal election for the UNC. It was a Muslim religious period. PNM paid people. Come now, man. You will come from a tie to 600 loss in a 3,000 vote area. That is because just about 300 NTA voters who were previous PNM voted for the UNC candidate. And then when they realized there's no NTA, those persons went back to the PNM. PNM went up 300, UNC went down 300. And that is a same area that belongs to Maruga, that is a marginal seat. So that is why they will lose Maruga without the support of the NTA.
Well, it's interesting that you mentioned that, because I can't quote exactly who the party sources are, but according to one article, it quoted party sources saying that following the UNC analyzing the data, it found that the NTA did not help the party gain any ground. But Mr. Griffith, this just seems to be a bitter back and forth. I mean, at this point, you spoke about reconciliation a couple months ago. Is that still something that you think the NTA is willing to do following what can be seen as a year of just a political rivalry from what was political harmony?
Well, definitely. Let your to supporters of the UNC, persons who would like to see the PNM removed, let your heart not be bothered. I have to stand firm. If I do not stand firm, the floating voters will not come back home. They will not come back to support a coalition government. And there's a person who's a deputy political leader that said several times worse than Kamala Persad-Bissessar 3 times on a platform to remove her. And he is still there. And there's nothing wrong with that, because that is what politics is about. It is a time that we will compete. And if it is that we find that there's common ground, then we will negotiate to find some type of reconciliation. And that is what will take place. If there's no reconciliation, if for example, you bring in somebody from another political party and he continues to say the nastiest things about persons and their families and their wives, the NTA will not have any part to do with that type of politics. Because why bother to remove Keith Rowley and Fitzgerald Hines when it is you have that type of politics, which bringing someone that every single comment they make is not about productivity, not about policies, not about making it a better country, but try to say nasty things to attack and discredit and destroy and speak about people's wives and speak about people's children. If that is what the UNC wants to go with, the NTA will be in a different direction. So there can be certain situations that will make it non-negotiable. But I think, again, if it is that the NTA worked closely with the UNC in the local government election, we defeated we got 70,000 odd votes more than the PNM, or 60,000, sorry. That is a massive defeat. So it shows the rationale behind it. The other, what we are doing now is forming a proper strategic alliance of all the other political parties among common ground. We are going to have an MOU to state specific things. I think the biggest concern, the Jolene John matter, is a red herring. That is going to be rectified. Kamala Prasad-Bissessar making negative comments about me on a platform every Monday night for the last few months, that is irrelevant. Those things don't count, because she was jockeying for positions before the finish line with myself, which is what I was doing as well. It is this main thing. It's going to come down to, and I'm going straight politics on this, it's going to come seat allocation. That's what this is all about. Because many political parties who may be very desperate will say, look, you keep your 19 seats, you take all the marginals, and we'll go up for the 12 seats that the PNM will always win. And that is what I can assure the floating voters will not buy into, because they will see it as a full UNC government. They are not going to accept it. This is what happened in 2010. The Congress of the People hierarchy sold out. They ensured that the UNC had 21 seats, which should not have been the case. The UNC got 198,000 votes in 2007. The COP got 148,000. A 50,000 difference, it meant that we should have shared the seat allocations. They did not do that. They gave UNC 21, and the COP took 6 winnable seats. So when the UNC got their 21, the very next day, the partnership collapsed, because the UNC realized, I got 21, I don't need you. Take some scraps, take 2 state board contracts, and I'm going to give your friend a CPEP contract, and we run a UNC government. That is what caused the collapse. I am trying my best to try to get persons to understand that if we go down that road again, the UNC keeps your 19 seats, which I understand, you earn it, you have it, which is the same thing I did in local government election. I did not ask for any seat that the UNC had. In fact, I said, give me the 31 hardest seats that you have never won, which is what I did to prove our worth. And what happened is that we cut every single seat, and that those 31 safest PNM seats in Port of Spain, Diego Martin, Arima, Tunapuna, and we cut that by 35 to almost 80%. So things that PNM would have been beaten UNC by 1,200 votes, like Lupino and so forth. With PNM ended up, they won by about 150 votes. That is a party in less than a year. So this is the same situation that we will now go into. If the UNC says they take their 19 seats, but they want St. Joseph, Tunapuna, Lupino, Arima, Davao, Omera, La Joquita, Talparo, Sangre Grande, San Fernando, West, you're going to take the 8 other seats that are possibly winnable. Those are the 8 marginals. 19 plus 8 is the 27. And then Tobago got the other 2 seats. That was the 29 from 2010. If you take those 8 marginals, it means that you want a full UNC government, and the third parties would have had nothing other than to try to influence their voters to vote for the UNC candidate in the marginals. It has to be legitimate. It has to be realistic. It has to give the floating voters the impression that there is going to be some degree of representation. That is what a coalition government is. It was never a coalition government in 2010. It was a UNC government with 21 seats, and the COP supported them blindly on every single bill in Parliament. That is not a coalition government. A coalition government was only in 1995 when it was 17-17-2, and you had to bring 2 parties together to get a majority in Parliament. So my concept is, let us have some degree of mutual respect, share the marginals. When that is what this is about. There's a perception that Gary Griffith is going to push on this. The rest of the parties would not. But having spoken to the other parties, I think they are on common ground to agree that, listen, you can't just expect us to go up for the 2 Lavaters, the Diego Martins, the Port of Spains, the Labres, the San Fernando East. You take the marginals by getting our supporters to vote for your candidates, so you'll have a 21 plus UNC government. I don't think that's what the floating voters want. I do not think that's what the country wants.
Well, okay, let's focus on that for a moment, because as I mentioned at the introduction of this, the NTA in September said we're going after 10 constituencies. You've named custodian for those constituencies, and a couple of weeks ago you named 2 more candidates. But something that you've mentioned throughout this course, and it's the NTA's conversations with other political entities. We've known about Hope and the Congress of the People for a couple of months now. But in relation to those other entities whom this MOU is going to be signed with, you mentioned MSG. Is that one of the parties the NTA has had consultations, meetings with? What about Michaela Pandey and the Patriotic Front? Would you be willing to work with Michaela Pandey and the Patriotic Front?
Well, I see the UNC have copied the exact line that I have used, the exact word, but I said that we are willing to work and have conversations with anyone who has the same degree of visions, principles, and direction. Exact words that I use is what was used last week. So they're doing well. It's good that they're watching and listening to what the NT has to say. So if there's any other political party that has the same visions, the vision, the principles, the ideologies of the NTA, we will have conversations with them. We have not conversed yet with the MSJ, but I have spoken to certain persons in union movements, NGOs, and this is not just about political parties. This is about trying to unite Trinidad and Tobago. My concept as a political leader, you cannot expect people to believe that if you do not have the capability to unite external bodies outside of who you lead, how can you expect us to believe that you could unite a country? And that is where I have started, where my intention is to try as much as possible to unite different political parties. It is very difficult because everyone has different views, different directions, different goals, but it is working. And that is the first step for us to form a strategic alliance with different bodies other than the UNC. So I don't know if Anna Ramdas will put any papers, Gary Blank Scamler, because we have been having our meetings to form a proper foundation of a bridge constituency upon which we can now seem to have some degree of dialogue with the UNC if they so desire. So we have not, I have spoken to other political parties as well, and it is building, and I think what we are going to have is something very strong, that is going to be cemented in such a way that is not going to be fragmented. And then we will come to the table and meet with the UNC for us to then discuss. But it can't be, let's just join to be the PNM. We must have the 19 seats. We'll take all the marginals. And if you don't agree, well, then we'll just get our social media paid assassins to just say that Gary Griffith is going to split the vote and Gary is a PNM. That line is not going to work anymore for the floating voters.
Well, in closing, Mr. Griffith, the NTA's preparation seems to be very much in full swing in respect to perhaps a manifesto or the NTA's vision for Tobago following 2025. Would we learn more following, a better understanding of this MOU that quite possibly might be signed? What direction are we heading with respect to the NTA and a manifesto, a vision for Tobago?
Yeah, definitely. The manifesto has been the most comical thing I've seen for the last few years in this country. Let's build, we're going to give you promises, we're going to build more police stations, we're going to build better roads, we're going to build hospitals. It's the same old. No cost-benefit analysis, nothing to analyze if there's justification, nothing at all. We just make all these wild, empty promises that is going to extract billions out of our treasury. You're not going to get the value for it because there was no proper research to understand the relevance for it, how it is we're going to maintain it, if it is that we have the training, the support, the personnel, the requirements, the demand, nothing. It's just empty promises. So we're not manifesto hunting. What we are putting is a strategic roadmap towards the transformation of Trinidad and Tobago, where it's over 180 of the best minds that in the country that are not politically affiliated, and they've been able to put a structure for us to transform health, education, the economy, sport, culture, local government, and national security. What you're going to see in national security, jump by jump, there's a perception that the NT is national security driven. Let me tell you something. Without proper security, there's nothing else. That is your most fundamental right. It is because of poor security now in the country that everything is collapsing. The economy, treasury, education, health, people are migrating, businesses are closing, costs going up because of increased security costs, kidnapping, extortion, home invasion. What you are going to see, yes, as a Minister of National Security, it was the highest reduction in serious crime in 31 years. As Commissioner, highest reduction in 17 years. That was nothing to what you are going to see in the very near future in the NTA's concept to transform national security in this country. You're going to see plans, policies, units, technology never seen before in the history of the Caribbean that I promise you that if and when we get in government, we are going to transform security and make Trinidad and Tobago safe again.
Well, make Trinidad and Tobago safe again. That's a line that sounds very familiar. But Mr. Griffith, thanks very much for your time this morning. Thank you for joining us on the program. We still look forward to that policy document, that roadmap to transformation, as you mentioned. Thank you very much, sir.
Pleasure.
All the very best. Take care. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll continue to monitor the conversations between these political entities to have a better understanding as per the direction that Transvaal was heading in respect to the general election, to have an idea of the options that the electorate has as we get into the full gear, the full swing of election mode. But though it's a festive season, right around the corner is a new year, and that brings about new conversations. Let's take a break on the program.
My name is Dr. Stephen Carroll, the CEO at Community Hospital of Seventh-day Adventist, and we are committed to making good private healthcare affordable.
For all your medical needs, including dental, radiology, laparoscopy, behavioral and mental health, along with many other services, contact us for more information at 235-5479.
Community Hospital of Seventh-day Adventist,
where good private health care is affordable.
Simon's Musical Supplies Limited. We are the specialist in new and used musical instruments, carrying top brands like Yamaha, Pearl River Pianos, Meinl and Sabian cymbals, Remo and Evans drumheads and Fender guitars, just to name a few. Also a wide assortment of music books, pan and accessories. At Simon's, we service what we sell. Trust the leader. Call us now at 625-6412 or visit us at 20 Board Street, Port of Spain.
Transform your home with PCU Plus. From stylish furniture to the latest appliances, we have everything you need to create your perfect space. At PCU Plus, we offer fair prices and affordable financing options that are cheaper than hire purchase agreements. With convenient locations in San Fernando, Tobago, Arima, and our lifestyle showroom in Barataria, you're never far from the best deals. Visit PCU Plus today and discover why we're the top choice for quality furniture and appliances. PCU Plus. Quality you trust. Prices you'll love. Visit one of our locations or find us online to start transforming your home today.
Maybe he landed here totally by coincidence. But if by chance he's admiring your fresh coat of Benjamin Moore soft sky blue, well, that's a pretty high compliment. Coming from an expert.
Here's your chance to win a bicycle, a ride-on, or a hoverboard. Shop at dbesttoys.com and spend $300 or more to win big.
We've got Bobby,
Hot Wheels, Gel Blasters, Ride-ons,
Leapfrog,
Nerf, bicycles and tricycles.
Greco, and Wonder Baby.
Visit us in store at Force's flagship McBean, Movie Town Port of Spain, Eastgate Smart and M6 Plaza Endeavour. Merry Christmas, everyone!
FanZone, your reliable, authentic supplier, has just gotten better. You can now visit our website www.fanzonett.com for your authentic wear and collectibles. The only place where you can use both your Visa debit and credit cards. Visit our website fanzonett.com to make your purchase today.
Every word, every line, every paragraph depicts a real moment in someone's life. A father, a sister, a mother, a brother. We at Newsday are dedicated to you, the people, and through independent, unwavering journalism, strive to always bring your stories to life. Because your stories are more than just words. Newsday, independent and credible.
Money is something we all deal with, but how many of us truly understand it? What if you could make better decisions with your money? Decisions that secure your future, protect your family, and bring you peace of mind. I'm Darren Jacobs, and I'm here to help you make sense of your dollars. Welcome to Dollars and Cents, the show that breaks down the financial world in ways that matter to you. No jargon, no confusion, just real conversations about money, your money. So join me every Wednesday at 10 a.m. on WESN for Dollars and Cents.
This is 10 Questions. I'm Andy Johnson. The distance from where we should be in the world in going forward on our commitments with climate change.
The effects of climate change that cannot be accounted for. It's called loss and damage, and we're seeing loss and damage happening so much more in this decade and the previous decade.
The principal term there was this question of the correspondent banking issues.
That is why we're trying to build capacity with this country here, Trinidad and Tobago, and other countries in the region.
Man is not showing any signs of stopping or even slowing down. More than half of the forest in Trinidad is already gone.
All the plants and all the animals and all of the nice clean water and fresh air and everything had to be on this planet for humanity to have a chance.
We have small change when it comes to countries that can take decisions, and when they speak, the world listens.
The General Assembly is a very democratic forum. And Trinidad and Tobago has the same vote as Canada, in spite of the obvious difference in size.
Welcome back to the program, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for being with us this morning as we continue this edition of AM Prime. So, in continuing our conversation with the political parties and their plans heading into 2025, the latest is of conversations between the opposition, United National Congress, and other political entities, as well as trade unions. One such political entity is Hope Trinidad and Tobago, and this one had me a bit surprised, but let's get an understanding this morning as per the direction that they're heading as I welcome to the program the political leader of Hope, Mr. Timothy Hamel-Smith. Good morning, sir, and welcome to AM Prime.
Good morning, Keaton. Glad to be here. Good morning to all of your listeners.
Thank you very much for joining us indeed. Now, of course, nothing is set in stone. Hope was supposed to be a part of the conversations last week. Unfortunately, they were unable to attend, and I believe you stated that in January of 2025 is when Hope and the United National Congress will meet for conversations. But at this point, does it show that Hope is willing to work with the United National Congress in a general election? There is potential indeed for such an alliance or coalition.
I think there is potential. It really, it's, you go beyond potential for a coalition. One of the things that we've maintained is that in order to determine if a coalition makes sense, and we prefer a post-election coalition, I might tell you. First of all, we have to determine if we are on the same page insofar as the vision, our vision for Trinidad and Tobago, the policies that we think need to be initiated in order to transform Trinidad and Tobago. And one of the drivers, if you like, of this question is, in fact, the sad state of the nation. Most people, I think if anybody on the street, you ask them, are you happy about the direction in which we are going? Most people will say, no, we need something fresh, new, and that is effective and is performance oriented. Without that, we will continue to descend into chaos. It will be, the number of murders will continue to escalate. Foreign exchange, which people complain about, will get worse. The economy, jobs will become more scarce. And these are things I think people are looking for, they're crying out for. And therefore, any opportunity that arises to bring that to Trinidad and Tobago is one to be seen as a welcome approach. I can't foretell what will happen until discussions start about how we face these things. And that's why it's important. I don't think that, it's an overnight exercise. I think that it's an exercise involving understanding their position, understanding our position. And I think the starting point is not, let's have a coalition. Let's work towards a coalition, but an objective of achieving that is to be on the same page that's what we would like to in Hope. And we've been meeting, by the way, with what you refer to as the smaller parties over the last many months. And that's exactly the course we set ourselves. Let's come to a common position in terms of what policies are required, what's our vision, how do we implement those policies, and what can we do when the 2025 election comes in a government of what I would refer to as national unity in order to implement that. And that's our vision in terms of how to approach this particular matter.
You mentioned that Hope would prefer coalition post-election. So is that something that is if you're saying that is preference, does that suggest that Hope is willing and was even or is still even in the process of campaigning for all electoral seats available in Trinidad and Tobago come 2025?
At this point, no, and that's why we've always said we will look at the winnable seats, and that's where we would make our selection. We don't claim to be a national party. We claim to have national focus, and we think we bring a dimension to the governance of Trinidad and Tobago, which is transformative, which will make a difference in how the country is governed and how you implement it, and a better, brighter future than we experience right now.
I know that when Hope launched, I believe it was last year, it's been 1 year actually since Hope officially launched.
Sure.
The one thing coming out of Hope was that, and you said this, and I believe Karen Sarah said this as well, we're about real change. We are about transformation. In the words of another deputy political leader of Hope, Louis Leasing, he's spoken many a times about the mustard and the ketchup, and there's nothing to gain from the mustard and the ketchup. That's speaking directly from Louis Leasing on this platform when he's had nothing very good to say about the mustard and the ketchup. So how is it all of a sudden there seems to be some sort of positioning of hope with other political entities of which your members and your leadership had nothing good to say about previously?
Well, I would. So, from my perspective, we have taken a decision not to badmouth any other political party. We've said that the political parties, we would rather focus on what has to be done as opposed to mudslinging. So we're not in the mudslinging game. We're in a game of good governance, if you like, and achieving that may require us to work with other parties. I think you would have seen a comment, the latest comment Mr. Lee Singh has made is that all ships must sail in the same direction, the same armada, so that the fact is that circumstances change, and therefore you have to change, you have to be dynamic. Politics in Trinidad and Tobago is not just a stable direction. It's dynamic, it changes from day to day, and one has to be able to move with those dynamics and not just stay in one position and say, this is where we are, and that's what we intend to do. But you have to be able to accommodate other views. We don't for a moment say that we know everything and that we are the only ones who can bring a new direction to Trinidad and Tobago. But I would like to say that we do believe hope brings that essential element to transform Trinidad and Tobago, which in a combination of parties would in fact produce a better Trinidad and Tobago. And that's, at the end of the day, that's what hope is about.
Well, do you think that there has been a buy-in to hope at this point? Because as you mentioned, you believe this is what hope is about. You believe that hope is about transformation. We don't consider ourselves a national party, but we seek national interests. If that is the case, do you think that after 1 year there has been significant buy-in to hope and hope's agenda?
I think so. We've got, from our interaction with people, we've got, a substantial buy-in. In fact, most people come to us and say, we didn't realize there was such a vital organization in which sensible views and expressions are made, as opposed to the kind of mudslinging you might hear in other forums. We are focused on good governance and achieving that for Trinidad and Tobago. So from our perspective, yes, I think on a daily basis, more and more buy-in and more followership are arriving at the conclusion that Trinidad and Tobago needs something which is different from the perspective of what has happened in the past. And hope, I think, believes that we bring that perspective that could change dramatically, because I don't think it's small change that will work. There are some essential things that need to be done, which are transformative in nature, even revolutionary in nature, because we cannot continue doing business as we are doing now and expect different results. I mean, that's the long and short of it.
Well, what are Hope's, precisely what is Hope's vision for Tobago, so that we have a better understanding? I still ask myself this question even after a year and even after interviewing the executives of Hope. Exactly what is Hope's vision? What exactly is Hope's envisioning when it says transforming Trinidad and Tobago?
And that's a fair question. We think that it wraps up in our logo for Hope. All right. Hope says we need honest government. We need government that, what happens right now, you have created a patronage society in Trinidad. Who you know or who knows you is how you get things done. Hope says everybody should be able to access the same service And therefore that's an honest approach to government. We talk about opportunity. We said there must be opportunity for all, no matter what. And our aims, our policies are to help lift up people as opposed to merely give handouts to people, to take them to a new place where they can feel that they can achieve their dreams, their goals and ambitions. And therefore, part of this is performance. Performance in terms of when we come to the table, we want to perform, we want to ensure that our policies get action steps that will take us to where we want to go. Not simply talk, but in fact, we back up that talk. Because yes, talk is important, but you have to back up that talk with performance. And the last E for empowerment in hope is that we want to empower people from every class, from every dimension of Trinidad and Tobago. People must feel that they can join into a new beginning to make Trinidad an ideal home where perhaps you look at our national anthem, where people can hope that in fact their dreams and goals and ambitions can be fulfilled. And to empower people to do that, education is key. Opportunity for new jobs are key. And that is a focus of hope, to bring that about. And we start from the very threshold, as it were, because there has to be, certainly in education, an entirely new approach. We cannot continue where only 30% of the people, the young students, succeed in our present system and think that we are going to have success countrywide. And therefore, there's something wrong in your system when what you do is say, we have a system for education and everybody must fit into it. And that is, you have multiple intelligences and we must suit the education system for the people, not just take the people and students and pour them into a system that continues to fail. And that is a transformative action that Hope brings to the table, a new dimension to make sure that happens.
Has Hope seen any political entities or spoken with any political entity up until this point that it believes shares this same vision or at least similar visions in respect to transforming TNT?
Yeah, so for many months now, we have been meeting not only with political parties, but other organizations, civil society groups, which want to have that same vision to transform Trinidad and Tobago. And we will continue that because, as I say, it's a journey. It's not an overnight process. We didn't start, yesterday in terms of that process. We came to the table. We've been meeting weekly, and we think that that process is ongoing. Of course, new challenges come to the table, and you consider those challenges. You just don't remain stuck in one dimension. And I think that process is going up to Saturday gone this weekend. It's making great strides. We think that we have, coming together in a way where we've openly been able to discuss difficult issues and yet find at the end of the day, we've found ourselves pointing in the same direction. And that's a major, major importance in bringing all of these parties together in order to have a common vision, not only for the country, but as to how we can participate together in making the country a new and transformed Trinidad and Tobago.
Previously, Hope had held conversations with the Congress of the People and the NT. What have become of those conversations?
They continue. The Hope, the COP and the NT are two of those parties who are present in those discussions over the last many months, with other civil society organizations, with other members that have political interests. And as I mentioned, that as of Saturday, I think there's been a new expanded interest in terms of taking this forward and how we take this forward.
In respect to coming back to Hope and focusing on Hope's visions and Hope's build as a political party, when are we going to learn more about the executive of Hope? I mean, the focus has been on yourself, Timothy Amell-Smith, and then, of course, Deputy Political Leaders Karen Nunes-Teixeira, Louis Leasing, and, of course, Steve Alvarez. And in all fairness, the party's a year old. It is still in that building phase. But when are we going to learn more about those who have joined Hope and those who are pushing Hope's vision forward, those who are joining as part of the executive of the party to build its stature and to build its platform going forward?
So that I think January is perhaps a crucial month that we feel that a new beginning, a new emphasis starts. And I think that's when you will see a whole new public difference in terms of how we approach the political arena.
Things are quieting a bit for the festive season, I suppose. Things are settling down just a bit for the festive season. But in that regard as well, Mr. Hamel-Smith, you mentioned civil society organizations, you mentioned other political entities. We understand that Hope is still in a rebuilding phase. You just also mentioned working in January towards going forward. But again, I'm curious to know, in that meeting with the opposition leader, which is yet to happen, what does Hope bring to the table? Because yes, interests are common. Yes, surely it's about opposing what is currently happening in Trinidad and Tobago. But what does Hope really bring to any political coalition? What can Hope offer to any political coalition?
All right. So really you're asking that question is, which constituencies can we bring and say we have a base? But I think that's a wrong emphasis. And that's the emphasis we've had in the past. And that's why Hope says, the starting point is a question of what is the vision? What are the policies? So that you don't just get together with somebody else because you want mass. You want to bring to the table, and of vital importance is bringing to the table a new approach to government, a new strategic direction, new policies that haven't been, how do you tackle crime? How do you tackle education? How do you create new business opportunities? How do you get foreign investment in? And without that, Trinidad will continue to have difficulty with foreign exchange. We can't put all our eggs, as we have done for the last 50 years, in the oil and energy and gas industry and put it in that basket, because we have seen what is happening in the world. And therefore, there are multidimensional approaches that must be made. Hope brings that to the table. And that, I think, is, in the minds of the public, more important than let's get together and in the same dance, play the music and let us all have a great time. Hope brings, as policy, a whole new dimension to the governance of Trinidad and Tobago. And the emphasis in the past, I was part of the negotiation, if you like, leading towards the PP government. It's unfortunate. You learn lessons from the past, that the focus then is what seats do you bring? What can you bring to the table? And really the starting point is not that. That's the end point. The starting point is what policies will we bring to the table that we want to get buy-in from other people, where we can in fact come to some consensus about what is emerging. Who put out our 180-day policy, for instance, which are the first steps that we feel need to be taken once you enter into government.
But Mr. Amal Smith, those are not necessarily policies. Those are the end results that hopes achieve. From these are the outcomes. This is what we want to achieve. Those are not necessarily policies.
I don't agree with you. Policies relating to how you transform the education is not a policy. Policies as to how you get foreign investment in Trinidad and Tobago is not a policy. I don't follow your argument. That is of no consequence almost is what is being suggested. It is vital. If we merely get into government and do the same old thing, well, you're not going to expect different results. And I think most people anticipate different results, want different results. They understand that just doing the same old thing is not going to take us anywhere. And there has to be a new direction in which Trinidad and Tobago points. And I think that that is vital. And without that, well, you might as well not be in the game, from my perspective. You just can't say, well, we want to win because we want positions, we want power. Is that what is being recommended? Power is the name of the game, and let's just get in and forget anything else about what we are going to do. And power is just really a means to in fact, have the opportunity to transform Trinidad and Tobago. That's what it gives you. But if all we were interested in power, and if that's what it turns out to be, then I don't simply want to be in the game.
I understand that, but I have in front of me a HOOPS policy document restoring good governance to Trinidad and Tobago. So, viewers don't have to take my word for it. This is something that is, and kudos to HOOP in that context, because it's one of the very few political entities that actually have published this. It's available online, HOOP TT, and I could tell you right now, I have it right in front of me taking a look at it. But
that's great.
The whole point of it, Mr. Alma Smith, I mean, our opinions might differ, but it still seems to be more so goal-oriented and end results. Nothing is wrong with that, but viewers might have a different opinion. They have every opportunity to go online and take a look at it and formulate their own. In respect to conversations going forward and conversations that have happened thus far, we're more curious to know about possibilities and those that are already established. For example, MSG. What about Patriotic Front and Michaela Pandey? What about Jack Warner, for example, who has aligned himself with the United National Congress, but has he been a part of any of these conversations?
Yeah, so we have spoken and reached out to those people. They are not part of what you might call our alliance that meets on a Saturday, because they've taken the view, look, we want to have one-on-one conversations as opposed to be part of a group. And, you can't compel people to the table, but yes, we are open to be speaking with anybody. Our approach, on the other hand, has always been not just a grab for power, but rather how we can participate in transforming Trinidad and Tobago.
Well, Mr. Amal Smith, I think at this point, I want to thank you very much for joining us on the program. Thank you for being a part of the conversation. I think we could only speak more to this or get a better understanding once that conversation in January happens.
Yeah, it's beyond a conversation. You will see rolling out, political activity, shall we say, on the ground. And by the end of January, we think that you will see a new dimension coming to the fore. And yes, politics is both things. You have to win the people to your point of view. You have to win followers, but you also have to bring something to the table which will transform. And so there's, at least two dimensions to the challenge, if you like, that faces us and faces Trinidad and Tobago on a whole.
Well, Mr. Amal Smith, thank you very much for being with us, and all the very best for the remainder of the season.
Thank you. Thank you for joining me. All the best to you and your viewers for this Christmas season.
Take care.
Bye-bye now.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's take a quick break on AM Prime, and we'll be return. We'll be wrapping up this morning's proceedings. Stay with us. Ooh, we went to black.
Bill and Ruth fell in love with the
Henry, what's happened to you? What's happened to us and our marriage?
This cathedral must rise. It'll stand like a great beacon. I want its light to shine.
Never mind, Henry, never mind.
God, please help me.
Good evening.
Who are you?
I'm an angel. I was instructed to come here in answer to your prayer.
There's no time to lose.
Because the cathedral must be built, or because Julia must be happy?
This has been the most wonderful evening I've had in years.
This has been the most wonderful evening I've had in centuries.
I don't believe you're an angel. I think you're a demon right out of...
Oh, Henry.
Why don't you fight for her? Fight? For an angel?
Julia is a creature of earth. She's a woman, Henry. And you are a man.
Having trouble Christmas shopping? Check out the Kids Shop today. For all your officially licensed kid character merchandise, we carry characters such as Disney Princess, Frozen, Spider-Man, Paw Patrol, Sonic, My Little Pony, and much more. Call or visit us on Facebook or Instagram. Nationwide delivery available. The Kids Shop. For all your licensed kids character merchandise.
Here's your chance to win a bicycle, a ride-on, or a hoverboard. Shop at dbesttoys.com and spend $300 or more to win big.
We've got Bobby,
Hot Wheels, Gel Blasters, Ride-Ons,
Leapfrog,
Nerf, Bicycles and Tricycles.
Greco, and Wonder Baby.
Visit us in store at Forces flagship McBean, Movie Town for the Spain, Eastgate Smart, and M6 Plaza Endeavour. Merry Christmas, everyone!
we're back and better than ever.
Your show have always appeared to be a show that is focused on going to the cause or looking to the cause.
We hardly ever talk about the white-collar crime, though. We always talk about the ones that involve more as physical violence against individuals.
The citizens will only measure transmission when water starts to flow through their taps.
The Constitution doesn't talk about local election.
Contract mafia that's responsible for looting the country, and they own and operate these politicians.
So if you are running a country and you can't say nothing as a prime minister, please take up your bag and go.
It is not comparative to the murder figures, but it is in fact very high.
I believe he's protecting certain individuals.
Take some time for yourself or spend some time with the family at Sandy Point Village Hotel. Enjoy our various studio and suite apartments, self-contained with their own kitchenettes and Wi-Fi. We also have our famous 100-foot swimming pool and our beachfront restaurant, the Steak and Lobster Grill. And our location in Crown Point puts us near the center of activity from the nylon pool to the local nightlife. Call us and make your reservations at 639-8533, 389-2378 or email us at sandypointvillagehotel@gmail.com.
Thank you for being with us this morning, ladies and gentlemen. And as we're getting to that point of the conclusion of the Prime this morning, I wish there is more good that I can share with you, that there is more cheer to bring to you. Of course, we speak about a season of festivities, and it is my favorite time of the year, but reading the news and digesting all that is happening in TNT, you would think it's a bit of a nightmare, and it is a nightmare for many of families from reading the story of a woman killed with her own knife in her home invasion. It would seem that took place a couple of nights ago. It's extremely sad what is happening. Amina Mohammed, 68 of Nancy Street, Lisa Gardens, this is in Couva, who was actually stabbed fatally 4 times in her neck following a home invasion. This is one of quite a number of heartbreaking stories. Hunter is said to have died by suspected poisoning after coffee he drank led to him being nauseous at a hunting camp. Was taken to the hospital. Him and I think 8 other hunters were taken to the hospital, and he was pronounced dead. Police believe that the coffee may have been laced with poison. Then of another story in Maribel, where a pensioner was found with his throat slit, and this it's in today's newspapers. Again, if you get an opportunity to go through the newspapers, I'd always advise you to do such, but it's extremely depressing this morning, ladies and gentlemen. So, attacks at a Flagstaff Hill residence. 4 men jumped out of a black Toyota Corolla, tied and beat up 2 security guards at the entrance of Flagstaff, and then robbed residents of Flagstaff as they were entering the compound. As I said, I wish I could give you more good news, but that is essentially the headlines as per what we are facing and what TNT is going through. The Prime Minister says he would protect Trinidad and Tobago from any potential coalition. I think the Prime Minister needs to focus on protecting Trinidad and Tobago from the criminal elements. Forget about protecting us from other political entities. I think at this point you need to protect us from really your lack of leadership when it comes to fighting the criminal element in Trinidad and Tobago. But Prime Minister had his words, and unfortunately, I don't think he thinks about these things before saying it. We don't need protection from political coalitions or alliances. We need protections from the criminal element. So focus on that. If you focus on that, you'll have nothing to worry about when it comes to political opponents, right? If you get your job done and do your job well, you'll have nothing to worry about. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much to all my guests for joining me on the program this morning, Mr. Gary Griffith and of course, Mr. Timothy Hammersmith. We continue to observe what is taking place in respect to these conversations. But as Mr. Hammersmith mentioned, January is a crucial month and we would learn a lot more. But until then, we keep our eyes open and stay focused, stay sharp. Thank you very much to my team, Ryan Gomez, Brick, and Milewood, for every morning. Really, they are the life and the pulse of WESN when it comes to our morning programming, and we thank them very much for that. And of course, Naomi McNish for producing the program. I'm Keith and Shaw telling you today is a good day to have a good day and try and make it as good as possible. All things considered, let's do our part to try and make TNT a bit more sweet. We'll see you again very soon. Bye-bye.
Having trouble Christmas shopping? Check out the Kids Shop today. For all your officially licensed kid character merchandise, we carry characters such as Disney Princess, Frozen, Spider-Man, Paw Patrol, Sonic, My Little Pony, and much more. Call or visit us on Facebook or Instagram. Nationwide delivery available. The Kids Shop, for all your licensed kids character merchandise.
Here's your chance to win a bicycle, a ride-on, or a hoverboard. Shop at dbesttoys.com and spend $300 or more to win big.
We've got Bobby,
Hot Wheels, Gel Blasters, Ride-ons,
Leapfrog,
Nerf, bicycles and tricycles.
Greco, and Wonder Baby.
Visit us in store at Forces flagship McBean, Movie Town for the Spain, Eastgate Small and M6 Plaza Endeavour. Merry Christmas, everyone!
Maybe he landed here totally by coincidence. But if by chance he's admiring your fresh coat of Benjamin Moore soft sky blue, well, that's a pretty high compliment. Coming from an expert.
Transform your home with PCU Plus. From stylish furniture to the latest appliances, we have everything you need to create your perfect space. At PCU Plus, we offer fair prices and affordable financing options that are cheaper than hire purchase agreements. With convenient locations in San Fernando, Tobago, Arima, and our lifestyle showroom in Barataria, you're never far from the best deals. Visit PCU Plus today and discover why we're the top choice for quality furniture and appliances. PCU Plus. Quality you trust, prices you'll love. Visit one of our locations or find us online to start transforming your home today.
Simon's Musical Supplies Limited. We are the specialist in new and used musical instruments, carrying top brands like Yamaha, Pearl River pianos, vinyl and Sabian cymbals, Remo and Evans drumheads and Fender guitars, just to name a few. Also a wide assortment of music books, pan and accessories. At Simon's, we service what we sell. Trust the leader. Call us now at 625-6412 or visit us at 20 Board Street, Port of Spain. FanZone, your reliable, authentic supplier, has just gotten better. You can now visit our website www.fanzonett.com